Welcome to Makers Chat, a podcast community for creatives. I'm your host, Danielle Kaminsky, artist, maker, and educator from Spartanburg, South Carolina. Join me as we share our stories and explore the topics that are most important to creative entrepreneurs and makers. Hey everybody, welcome back to Makers Chat. So I'm here today with my friend Kari Johnston, and we're going to talk to you guys some more about the Makers and Shakers Small Business Conference coming up in September, right?
We're so excited.
Yeah. So
you guys can start making it a podcast drinking game every time one of us says that we're so excited about this conference, because it's happening very regularly.
Very, very regularly. I keep trying to come up with synonyms for excited because I feel like I've got to be getting boring. So first and foremost, you've been on the podcast before, so longtime listeners have heard you. They know what you do, but go ahead and just kind of give us a brief run through of what you do, your store there in Ohio, so that folks understand where you're coming from.
Sure, absolutely. So one of the things that's going to be really exciting about this conference is that I'm going to get to lean into a different part of the business that I haven't talked about too much on this podcast, actually. Because this is Makers Chat, I've been really focused on the boutique side of my business, but there is a consulting line of my business that I'm going to get to lean into for this conference. So I'm Kari Johnston. I'm here in Springfield, Ohio. So that's like Southwest Ohio area. I own Rose City Boutique and Consulting. I usually just call it Rose City Boutique when I'm talking to other brick and mortar folks, other makers, etc., because it is a bit of a mouthful. But what's exciting about this conference is I'm going to get to engage both of those items. So with Rose City Boutique and Consulting, we are a vendor store. So we work with about 30 small businesses, small makers in our area, and we offer their products as brands within our boutique. So though we have some items that we, wholesale purchase and resell, we have a lot of items that local makers make, handmade, develop products that they put together, and they market themselves and I carry them as a brand. That's something that's really special about my store. And through that, I've gotten the opportunity to see a lot of the pain points that small creative businesses have. And I've sort of dialed in a little bit to the things that I can help small businesses with, and just folks in general who are trying to move their lives, their visions, their goals forward. So this conference is so far up my alley. It's not even funny. When Danielle first mentioned that she wanted to host an event that was less retreat, because we do have retreats scheduled for this year that we're very excited about, that will help us with all of our creative endeavors and inspiration, but more so strategy. So we are so very excited that this particular event will help all of you with your business strategy. Not to get too far ahead of myself here, but that's one of the things that we do on a very small scale here at Rose City Boutique and Consulting. We're a team of makers. We're a team of folks that are offering products in the boutique, but are also faced with many of the same challenges that all of you are faced with in your world. And so I have one main consulting client right now that I'm helping with many of the things that we're going to be talking about at this conference. I'm very excited to not only learn from the other folks that are coming to the conference, but to be a part of this event. So that's me and my little business. We're at shoprosecity.com if you want to check us out if you're not in the Ohio area. But we host in-person workshops. We, sell handmade products. We dance on TikTok occasionally. We do all the things that many of you are probably doing as well.
Yeah. So when I was kind of first talking to everybody, because, when you have an idea, it starts out with a collection of conversations with all kinds of people, because you're fleshing out this idea and you're determining if there's even interest for it. I mean, is this just something that I want, or is this something that other people want too? And Kari obviously was one of my more significant conversations in realizing that, yes, we want this and we can make this happen. But for me, there's that old, and there's even an Instagram reel right now, and Judge Judy saying it, the idea that you find something that you love to do, that you're good at, and you'll never work a day in your life. And that's a super sweet sentiment, but I feel that at its core, that is a lie. I feel like anything that you want to do and make a living at is going to be work, no matter how much you love it. You're going to have to do the hard things. You're going to have to learn how to do the marketing part. I mean, you can make a beautiful product all day long, but if nobody knows it exists, you're not going to get very far with it. So that was kind of what drove me over the past couple of years in my own store and with my own programs, trying to help other, handmade business owners figure out how to take that thing that they love and turn it into an income. 80% of your time might be making that thing that's beautiful and doing the work that you love, but the other 20% is going to be work. And sometimes you just don't even know where to start. And so the membership groups are great, but I know from the past couple of years, the experience of being one-on-one with people that you're wanting to learn from, where you can engage and ask questions and really explore not only just the general, like, here's the concept that you need to learn, here are the skills that you need to take on, but like even more specifically, how does this skill apply to my business? How can I use this tool to sell my specific product or bring people into my specific store? There's a lot of that kind of conversation that has to happen. There's a lot of critical thinking sometimes in applying the information that might be available to you in a course, and being able to have those conversations with other creatives, people who have already been there, people who have had to do some of that critical thinking themselves. It's huge. I mean, it makes such a huge difference in your business. And we've had that with these retreats that we've been to. But a lot of people maybe don't think that they're ready for a retreat. They don't understand that that's something you can do at any level. But also, maybe they need even more. Maybe they're right there at the very beginning and they even just need some of the basics. So we thought, let's put on a big conference, a full scale conference with multiple tracks and multiple sessions, so that anybody who is at whatever stage of their business can come and take something away from it. That's where we are. And we thought we would tell you guys a little bit more about what to expect. We are in the process, as we're recording this and as it airs, of doing these one-off introductions for our different speakers, because we want to give them all a lot of attention. So rather than name them off here, we're going to talk about the conference as a whole. And we're going to talk about the different topics that we're going to be teaching and sort of the format. I'm not going to talk the whole time. You start talking about it some, Kari.
All right. Don't encourage me. It's dangerous. Sometimes I listen back to our podcast. I'm like, Kari, take a breath. And especially when I'm talking about this conference, I'm so excited. Sorry, drink everyone. There are so many things that are specifically magical about this particular event. I was just telling Danielle that when we first had our initial meeting where Danielle told me all of the things that she had as a vision for this conference, I did not grab a big enough piece of paper. I have things scribbled in the margins. I have arrows. You guys know what that's like when you grab a small piece of paper for a lot of information. So just to warn you, go ahead and grab a big piece of paper while you take notes on what all this conference is going to offer you, because there is a lot of amazing information that's coming. And there's so many things that are specific to this event that you will not find at any other conference. I have been to business conferences. I had a brief stint as a Beachbody coach and had events through that organization. We've been to lots of creative retreats, and this conference has items that you will not find at any of those places. So one of the things that I hadn't even read thoroughly enough in my email to notice is that Ms. Kaminsky put together an app for this event. I got the congratulations, you're an attendee, and I put a star on it to make sure I could find that email later. Moved on with my life, and she said, did you see the link to the app in the email? Challenging my attention to detail. I'm like, no, I did not. There's an app. That is so cool. I want to make sure we talk about that on our podcast today. I feel like that's a fun thing to mention first, just to show you the level that we're coming into this conference with. Every time I talk about a detail that Danielle has cared for when it comes to planning this conference, people's eyes widen, because again, so many aspects of this conference are fine-tuned so that you learn more than you've ever learned at another retreat or event, and you stay connected to everyone else that's attending more intimately than you've ever connected with anyone before. So the app is going to be a great way to do that. It's going to be a great way to stay up to date on the information that's being shared and to stay connected with the other attendees. Another thing that's specifically magical about this conference is that when you buy your ticket, which early bird tickets are available now, go to makerschatpodcast.com.
Well, you can go to makerschat.com and it'll get you there, but we actually have a conference website that's makersandshakersconference.com. And
Perfect.
Yeah.
I've been going the long way.
That's fine. It'll get you there.
Perfect. See, this is why Danielle's in charge, because, she's crossing those T's and dotting those I's. So the questionnaire that you fill out when you get your ticket is helping us learn who all is specifically attending this conference. You are not just a name on a list. You are not just a number that is coming. You are a person with a set of experiences and a set of goals and intentions for this conference that we want to match and meet. We have 3 general groupings of people that we want to make sure that we are tailoring this conference for. And that is for brick and mortar store owners, folks that make items and want to sell them to others, and folks who are looking for a way to improve their online presence. So those are the general categories we're going to be calling them tracks that you'll be placed into based on what goals you have for your business as next steps. But we want to tailor that even further. So talk more about how specific we may be getting in terms of tailoring the conference to each person, because I love when you talk about that.
So on the one hand, we're planning a conference for 200 people, and that's a lot of people, right? But on the other hand, we're planning a conference for 200 people. We're not planning a conference for thousands upon thousands. So with just 200 people, we are going to be able to give a little bit more attention to who is coming, to what they need specifically. So like Kari just said, we've kind of got these 3 general umbrellas here. We've got online personalities, people looking to grow an online presence around content creation and that kind of thing. We have folks who are running brick and mortars, creative stores in that respect. And then we have the makers, the handmade business owners who are looking to promote a product. But y'all, I'm all 3. I mean, and as is Kari, we fit into all 3 of those categories. Like, this is not a situation where we're going to try to fit a square peg into a round hole. Like, we want to see what you are as a whole person. We are offering classes that speak to each of these, but when you fill out the questionnaire, we actually ask you to give us your, like, where we can find you online. I mean, we have every intention of looking up your business and what you do so that we can understand you better. And beyond just these 3 tracks, these 3 groupings of sessions that we're going to be offering, if it seems appropriate that there's a whole subgroup of people that need to sort of split their time between the brick and mortar and the handmade products, then we will have a section of people doing that. And ultimately, with 200 people, we are going to be aiming for somewhere between 6 to 8 focus groups. And what that means is you're going to be paired with a group of people most similar to you and the types of things that you're going to need to learn, the types of sessions you're going to take. We're going to send you that and let you know what classes we have scheduled for you. There's going to be like a little grace window where you can reach out to us and say, hey, I think you might have it wrong. Or I get that you looked at my profile, but I'm actually changing my business model and I would rather, go focus on these other things. Like, there's going to be an opportunity for you to give us that feedback. But prior to the conference, we're going to have you in those groups. And within the app, we're going to be able to go ahead and connect you with the people who are going to be in your group so that you can kind of get to know them and what they're doing. Because in addition to the amazing speakers that are going to be at this conference, connecting with other people who do what you do, maybe do it a little differently than you do, people that you can go, hey, so I saw that you also have a vendor mall. I've been using this software and I'm not sure it's my favorite. What do you use? Like, it's going to give you an opportunity to know who you want to connect with while you're there. So you'll have that ability to connect with your focus group before you get there. You'll have the opportunity at the end of each day to meet with your focus group. You'll all have like a focus group leader that's going to be just a little bit ahead or at least right there in the middle with you, that's going to have access to everything, who can guide you through the conference, answer your questions. If they don't have the answers to your questions, they're going to know who to go pull to get the answer to your question. And then once the conference is over, we still have the app. We can still stay connected so that even as we leave and go to implement what we've learned, we have a group to go back to say, okay, so remember that thing that we talked about? I'm trying to do it in this way, and I don't seem to be able to make it work. What experience are you guys having? And it can be a continued conversation that's going to benefit everyone in the long run. So we're really excited about that. I mean, we're we're trying to build some legit business connections that are just going to last and last and last.
Yeah, and we're trying to take care of our introverts because I know creative business owners or creative makers are there's a lot of introverts in that bunch, and something like a 200-person event can immediately feel like a non-starter. It's like, oh no, 200 people, how will I possibly people with 200 people? We're helping you connect with the folks that will be most beneficial to you in moving your business forward. I know that's something, even at the smaller events I've gone to, that's intimidating for me. I consider myself an extrovert, but I consider myself easily overwhelmed by large groups of people. So, especially ones that I feel like that I follow online, that I, watch them on Facebook. We were going through some of the people that are coming, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I've been wanting to be here forever. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited to finally meet her in real life. And that can be intimidating. Hold on, I have a dog in my lap, and my husband just came in from shoveling snow, and my dog is very concerned about making sure he's okay. So that can be intimidating. And one, we want to make sure you're connected with other people. We don't want you to feel like you're coming into this conference alone, that you're going to be, wandering around the poor Marriott with your little lanyard on, wondering if anybody understands the business that you're trying to make. We want you to feel a part of this community the entire time that you're there and know exactly who to talk to. If you're stumped, if you didn't understand a certain session that you went to, or you want to talk through that, you want to figure out how it applies to your business better, we're trying to make sure we've got that safety net available to you guys. So that's going to be amazing. Do you want to talk about the different topics?
Yeah, let's go into it.
Yeah, I'm so excited about
that
this.
bus because I know you wrote it down and you're very organized at the moment. So
I am just now working on organizing my notes about this conference because, again, you guys, so much great information. So I'm going to just name off different topics. And I really feel like as you guys hear topics, several of them on the list, you'll go, oh my gosh, I really need help with that. And if you're like me and you're like, oh shoot, I also need help on that and that and that, we're going to have an add-on for you where you can get recordings of every one of these sessions. So that's another thing that I want to make sure you guys aren't concerned about. So, you hear that you get to be part of a group and you get to have this tailored training to you. But then as you hear, every single one of these topics, I'm like, I'm interested to hear what they have to say about that. I wonder what kind of insight they have to say about that. So I know for me, I was like, oh shoot, as a speaker, I'm not going to be able to go to all of these different sessions because I'm going to be training some of these sessions. So we quickly added on an option to have all of the recordings. So even the sessions that you're not able to go to in person, you will have access to at least have those recordings. I'm actually excited that you get the recordings of the sessions that you attended as well, because we really feel like in a year, your business will be evolved. We can both attest to the fact that where we were a year ago is not where we are today. And so there are trainings that will mean one thing to you now, and then you will want to revisit. So that add-on recording option is going to be really exciting for those of you who are like us and do all the things and want to learn all the things and make sure you can revisit all the things and take all the notes. And that's something that's unique about this conference as well. I have notebooks full of notes from sessions that I went to, and I would have loved to have been able to go back and click on a recording and make sure, I didn't miss anything, or why did I write that? What are they talking about? So I'm going to start out with my session because it's fun. Because that's the one I'm most excited to talk about, of course. So one of the sessions, I'm probably going to be involved in 2 to 3 different topics, but the one that I'm going to talk about first, it's going to be called Bullseye Branding. So there are many ways that people are, 1, intimidated by establishing a brand, 2, have different opinions on whether they feel like branding is important, and 3, carry their branding through to communicating with their customers. So branding is not a one-time exercise where you identify your colors and your logo. Branding is an everyday exercise in how you are connecting with your customers. So I'm going to be teaching some deep dive exercises on that. I have a lot of interactive things planned. I'm very excited about that. And it's something that truly everyone will need. And I believe that is a session that will be available to each one of the tracks. I might have just written myself into all the tracks just now, but it is one of those fundamental things that even as a maker, even as a hobbyist, branding will help you become more known and more liked and more trusted with folks that would potentially want to engage in your brand. So it's very important. Danielle, you're going to teach a class on pricing. Yes.
Probably. That's my
Probably.
plan.
Sorry.
Well, no. And I say that because it will depend on who is coming.
Yes.
Because to me, it's a fundamental building block for handmade business owners to understand pricing to the extent that I have the micro course, the perfect price prescription. However, I also recognize that there is a chance that people are going to need other things more than that. So that is definitely a possibility. If it's not a whole class, then it will at least be a portion of the wholesale class to talk about how to use those things to make sure that you can provide a wholesale program and have it still be profitable for you. Because a lot of people just go, oh, but if I cut my prices in half, then I'm not making any money. Well, that means your prices weren't high enough to begin with. So we need to have that conversation too. So it's going to depend on what people need, but very likely there is going to be a pricing session. To what extent that session will again depend on who is coming.
Absolutely. So you'll have to let us know if you're one of the many people that we interact with that wring their hands on pricing every day. That is something that I honestly see every type of business owner wring their hands about. Am I pricing too high? Am I pricing too low? Do I account for my time? If I do that, is it even possible to make money on my products? It also comes back to your branding, but we have to leave some things for September. We're going to do a lot of work around digital marketing. Digital marketing is the present and the future. I can't even say it's the future. It is where we are now. And I am amazed at the number of business owners who don't understand digital marketing or don't even think it's important. It's mind-blowing to me how folks want to become known and they want to get business, but they don't look into enough of digital marketing to make that a reality. Danielle mentioned a wholesaling course session. So there's lots of you that may be looking to provide your items as a wholesale brand. Danielle has some items that she wholesales. So it's a nice revenue stream and one that's fairly common for makers as well. You brick and mortar store owners, we're going to have staging and merchandising lessons, which is something I can never learn enough about. I know even in our DIY paint stockist group, we are constantly trying to compare notes on staging and merchandising and figuring out how to fit things in different types of spaces. And I have 12-foot ceilings in my store, and sometimes that is really difficult to manage. And so there's going to be staging and merchandising sessions. Those of you who want to run membership groups, we're going to have experts there that will teach that. I am also going to be involved in a session with Brittany Brown of Little Bit Vintage on hosting in-person workshops. So I mentioned that was one of our revenue streams at Rose City Boutique and Consulting, and it's one that Brittany often hosts. We also have a variety of different types of workshops that we host at my store. So we have everything from stained glass to fairy houses to noodle boards. So we're going to be able to bring a lot of good information on how to host the most effective and enjoyable in-person workshops. We're going to be talking about publicity. We're also going to be talking about goal setting, because at the end of the day, we're not just makers or business owners. We're also people who have lives to manage, who have this elusive work-life balance that we're always trying to wrestle through. And it takes some strategy to work through that and to make sure we get where we're trying to go, no matter what that is, or, where you are in this group. And then we have a really excellent person that I'm not going to give away, who is going to be there teaching content creation and affiliate marketing. That was a recent ad. Danielle just dropped that name on me before we hit play, and I'm super pumped, and you guys are going to be very, very excited. The other thing that I love about this conference is that there's a lot of names I recognize on the roster of speakers and a lot of names I don't recognize on the roster of speakers. So I know there are some of us who sort of travel in a pack. A lot of us creative business owners have met each other at retreats and conferences and sort of, follow each other from retreat to retreat. And that's beautiful and magical. And we love that. But we're going to get to learn from some folks that we haven't learned from before and that you won't get the opportunity to learn from at any other conference but this one. And then, of course, we're going to have fun. You want to talk about some of the ways we're going to have fun?
Yeah. Well, I do want to come back and touch on just one or two things that
Oh,
I
absolutely.
forgot to get on your list, but a couple more topics that are definitely going to be covered. We have a professional photographer that's going to join us because, as you all know, with digital marketing, getting good pictures is something that we all struggle with. And most of us do not have fancy cameras. So she is going to be teaching you how to use the tools that you do have to get better pictures of your products, just for your branding and that kind of thing. And I'm really, really excited.
I don't know how I forgot that. I was very pumped about that.
And then another session that I am definitely leading is vendor-based brick and mortar models. That is something that obviously with my store, we have 60 vendors. Of course, Kari has vendors in her store as well. There's a lot of different ways that you can formulate that. And I've had that conversation with a lot of people lately who want to start a store and they want to have vendors, but they're trying to figure out what the best fit is for them. So we've had lots and lots of conversations around what models work for what style of store. And that's something that I want to cover because I know we'll have a lot of brick and mortar owners there who are considering adding vendors into their store and they're trying to figure out what that looks like and what it involves. We also have a lot of people who maybe don't have a brick and mortar yet that want to start one and they want to explore the possibilities. What could this look like? What are my options here? And the thing, as we all know, with a brick and mortar retail establishment is that there's no limit to the number of ways that you could set up your store. But having a pretty good understanding of the options is going to help you figure out how to take that next step. So there is going to be a session on that for our brick and mortar store owners or the people who are interested in starting a brick and mortar. And it's going to be pretty comprehensive because that's a lot and a lot of people don't know what they're getting into, and I'm all about like foreknowledge is power, so let's
Absolutely.
talk about that one. So I definitely wanted to cover those two because those are two that I think are
Absolutely.
going to be really powerful for a lot of people. And then for fun, so on Monday night and Tuesday night, so it's a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday event. Monday and Tuesday, we're going to have mixers in the evenings. One will be offsite. It will be at my store. It'll be a cocktail mixer and it's going to be lots of fun. And the other one will be on site at the hotel and it will be a little more coffee lounge-esque, for lack of a better way to phrase that. But the whole point is for you to be able to network and to see what other people are doing, to get their opinions on different things. It gives you a chance to leave the conference and go to dinner and then come back and unwind with everyone and be like, okay, so I've been thinking about it. And that session we took today, and, ask your questions. And of course, we're going to be encouraging our speakers to come around. So hopefully you'll get to network with them even more as well. That'd be really great. And then at lunchtime, we're also going to have some fun creative outlets for you guys. So again, this is a small business conference. We're focused on the strategy, the pragmatic things that we can do to grow our businesses, but we're all creatives at heart. So we want to have just a touch of creativity in your day. We don't want you to feel like all you've done is take notes and listen to people talk. So over the lunch break, we're going to have some art demonstrations. We're going to have an opportunity for you to get creative. If you need to get your hands in something, it's going to be fun. We're still fleshing out what that looks like and who's going to take over the different sessions, but it is going to be a lot of fun and it's going to give you that creative outlet during the day.
Yeah, because we know that taking you away from your creativity for 3 days might feel like withdrawal. So we want to give you an opportunity to engage that part of your brain and unwind a little bit from all of the brain work you're going to be doing, because this is definitely going to be an eat your Wheaties kind of event. You're going to be taking in a ton of information. You're going to be meeting a ton of people. You're probably going to have questions. We're going to have plenty of answers for you, but it's going to be so much bang for your buck.
And that is the goal with this conference, is for it to just be like super high value, for you to be able to come, to have this intense 3 days, because everyone's going to be coming for different reasons. Some of you are going to be coming because you want to hang out with your friends and you want to meet the people that you have been, admiring forever and ask them questions, and you are going to have the opportunity to do that. Some of you are going to be going, no, I'm here to work. I've got my notepad, I've got my pen, I'm learning as much as I possibly can, and I'm taking it home with me. And we want to make sure that no matter what it is you're aiming to get from this, we're providing that for you. So there's going to be a lot of value to be had. There's going to be plenty of opportunity to socialize and meet with people and that kind of thing. But then by having the recordings available to you, that also means that whatever you're looking to get out of this, you're going to be able to get it. So these recordings are almost going to be like it's a virtual summit then, essentially, right? Where you have the recordings and you could go back and watch it whenever. I know for me, I've taken a lot of online courses, and being able to go back and watch a video a couple of years after the fact, even where I've applied everything in my business, but now it's a couple years later and I need to revisit that because things are changing and I need to restructure, I need to change my messaging or whatever, or I've just flat out forgotten what it was that I was doing 2 years ago. It's really helpful to be able to go back and reference it. So we want it to be like a user manual that you can come back to over and over again.
It's going to be great.
We
have so many amazing people lined up. We have so many amazing people that have already grabbed tickets. We have an amazing team of people that are going to be supporting the event, that are going to be guiding you guys, making sure no one gets lost, everyone gets where they want to go, everybody gets into their breakout sessions. Yeah, it's going to be so great. Dionne Woods, of course, is going to be our keynote speaker, which we all know and love her both for her amazing artistry, but also her heartfelt business coaching. You will absolutely walk away from Dionne inspired and motivated. You just can't help it.
You really can't. So the conference is connected to the podcast. So as long as you're following the podcast on Facebook and Instagram and all the places, you're going to be good to go as far as getting information. You know, like I said, we're in the process even now of introducing our speakers and what they're going to be talking about. Everyone on the team, speakers and event team included, is being very flexible right now because, like I said, we are definitely going to make sure that this event is targeted for the people who are coming. We're not going to plan an event and then just see who shows up and you get what you get. Like that's our big thing here is we want to make sure that if we're going to all this, you're making a big effort to get here, to get to Spartanburg and come to this conference. We're going to put in a lot of effort to make sure that you get what you need once you get here. That being said, these are the topics, but how those topics are presented and the exact information that you get is going to be catered to where you are in your business and what you're going to need to do next, right? So it will build. You'll be able to build. There's going to be something for somebody at every level, and it's going to be great. The other thing I want you to know is that as we're introducing these speakers, they're also going to be coming onto the podcast over the course of the next few months to talk to you a little bit more about what they have to offer so that you can go ahead and get connected with them now. And if you want to take in any of the free content that they have available at this point, then you are going to have even more opportunity to have a list of questions for them to get even more out of the event when you come in September. So this conference is going to 100% be what you make of it. We are going to give you all of the tools and all of the resources just to make the absolute most of it because we want this to be value. For us, we want this to be as much value as we can possibly pack into 3 days so that when you go home, you've got that fire underneath you and you're just going to be able to do amazing things with your individual businesses. It's going to be awesome.
So awesome. And I think it's going to be helpful if you're just starting out, if you're several years in. Every single person I've talked to at any stage of their business about this conference has been pumped about things that they've either always struggled with, that they've never tackled before, that they want to refine, or folks that are really just like, I don't know what type of tag to put on my product. At that stage of the business, we will be there for you every step of the way for 3 intense days of learning. I'm so excited.
It's going to be awesome. It really is. I know that we could add that to the drinking game list. It's going to be awesome because I think I've said that several times as well. But Kari, thank you for coming on here again and talking about this with me. Thank you for all the work you're doing to help me make it happen.
Sure thing.
It really is. We are very excited as a team, and we cannot wait to see who comes and to see what it does for your businesses.
Yeah, there's only 200 seats, so you're going to want to grab yours. They're early bird pricing right now, which is for a very limited time. I know a couple of you were waiting to hear a little bit more detail about the conference before you pulled the trigger. So we're hoping this gives you the information that you need to realize that this is absolutely going to be beneficial to you. And feel free to reach out to either of us if you have any questions about what to expect, anything like that.
It'd be great.
All right.
Y'all have a great day, and we'll catch you next week.
Don't miss out on this Makers and Shakers Small Business Conference. This 3-day event will be held in Spartanburg, South Carolina, September 26th through 28th, and we would love for you to join us. This registration price is $385, but you can get the early bird registration rate right now for $295. Just visit makersandShakersconference.com. And don't wait, because those spaces won't last long. That's all for today's episode. Thank you for joining us. Remember to check out the Makers Chat community so that you can dive deeper into the conversation. You'll find the link to join in our show notes. Have a beautiful week, and we will chat again soon.